for this season, and now it's all about working and hoping for next season, it seems.
Yeah, it sounds like the stock market, speculation and conjecture, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one really knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Everybody's hopeful when the season begins, and things did not go as planned, and they had a lot of injuries, obviously, but every team in the league has a lot of injuries, and and everything's not perfect with this staff or the organization, much like other organizations, but you have to find a way to put it together on game day, and that requires a daily preparation, and somewhere along the line, things just did not work out, and last week it didn't help that Kyle Williams was not available, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers are hitting their stride. They've got some veterans, so there was a lot of conjecture about what might happen yesterday at One Bills Drive, and nothing did per se. So I don't know what the situation will be. I'm not in favor of rebooting the whole system, quite frankly, but that's exactly what they might do.
You talked about that earlier in the season because I think there were calls for his head earlier in the season, and you said the one thing that's really hurting the Buffalo Bills right now is a lack of consistency.
So how many years have we missed the playoffs? 17, right? 16, 17?
I know.
How many coaches have we had?
Right.
7?
Yeah.
I mean, what? You don't stick with anybody. You don't develop anybody. You don't develop players sometimes. I mean, if they can do it, you keep them, and if they can't do it, you try to find somebody else.
Look at the Browns.
It's a developmental process.
Situation.
It's initiating the same system, the right system, and developing the system.
Now, during the broadcast, Phil Simms was adamant in the end. He didn't have really anything to say on the issue of Rex Ryan, but on Taylor is that, listen, it's time to take the gloves off and let this kid show what he has. Give him the next 3 weeks. Let him play it out and see if he's your guy. What do you think?
Well, they're going to have to do that because they're going to have to drop a lot of cash with the way they restructured the contract. And I don't know what happened this past week. I mean, I thought 2 weeks ago against the Raiders, he was very, very decisive in the first half and then a little less decisive in the second half. And then this week, I don't think he was real decisive at all and was late on some throws. And he's been developing in a positive way in that capacity. And the thing I love about Tyrod is he is so magical. I do think sight lines become a problem sometimes. You cannot see guys when they're open because of those huge offensive and defensive linemen that are in front of him. And this week he was hesitant, and I think he may have been thinking about running, and people saying he's just going to be a scrambling quarterback. And so even when he tried to take off and run, he looked to throw downfield and then got himself in trouble and did not use his legs with the aggressiveness that he typically does and create some plays improvisationally. So I don't, that hampered him this week, and he does have to turn it loose. But part of that lies in the coaching staff and Coach Lynn. They've got to structure plays that are going to play to his skill set and where his skill strengths are, and that's moving out of the pocket a little bit and a half sprint and throwing on the run and doing things. Putting people, if he has trouble reading from side to side, which sometimes I think that happens. Then put guys, in a line. I mean, you're running flood patterns on the right or the left or the middle of the field, and just give them an opportunity to look 1, 2, 3 and deliver or get out of the pocket.
I mean, you've got. It's not for lack of effort here. You got Jim Kelly down on the sidelines, really trying to encourage Taylor to be that leader and to make those decisions and to really bring that team back. So. I don't know. I guess I'm with you on the fact that, boy, is it the right thing to do to just turn everything upside down and start all over again?
Boy, yeah, and then you look at guys that have been extremely productive, and you look at some of this roster, the way it's constructed, and you look at Kyle Williams. Well, if you reboot again, I mean, how does he fit into the picture and going into his 12th year next year? Some of these other guys, an offensive lineman, Rich Incognito, has been around for a number of years and is still playing at a really good level. But Eric Wood had the injury this year. I mean, you just start to reboot. It gets frustrating sometimes, and then you have to change systems, change terminology. Now, the one thing that would be really shocking to me is if they do reboot, I would be really surprised if they changed everything. You'd think it'd be some type of, I don't know if they have that guy on the staff, but you'd think it'd be some type of internal promotion where something's going to stay. And if you're going to keep Tyrod Taylor, and then you're going to keep an offensive system intact, so maybe that means one of the offensive coaches would get the nod. But again, it's hard to speculate. I like Rex. I'm like, you guys know I meet with him every week and talk football, and he's very enthusiastic. Will never sell out his players, and and sometimes you have guys as well. It's execution as well, and not that they didn't have a good plan defensively going in, but they did not execute it very well against the Steelers. That's for sure.
And defense of all things being an issue, boy.
So, do you see any scenario or any future with Rex Ryan going forward as the head coach?
I don't think you can.
You know what? It's hard to speculate. Like I said, I like him. I'm not in favor of rebooting the whole system. I would prefer to keep him and just tweak the things that are wrong with the system. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for him to keep his job. And I think I'm not sure if it'll come down to these last 3 games or if there's a decision that has been made already. But it's going to be difficult. They're going to have to play well in order for that to happen. If indeed it can happen.
One sure sign, one sign, I guess we would say. I'm not thinking nothing is sure at this point. But the latest report says that Rex Ryan has not heard from ownership since Sunday. There's no one that's called him up to say, "Hey, you're fine." And if there's ever an opportunity, now would be it because the story's out there.
Well, and again, it's hard for them to speculate too. Maybe that means they haven't made their mind up.
Yeah, that's true.
And just you need to look at the facts. Obviously, he understands football. The game has not passed him by. He's a brilliant defensive mind. Sometimes I think they have too many cooks in the kitchen. But they understand the game. They understand how to put together a roster. Although the injuries have hurt them tremendously, but there's been lack of execution. On the side particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and sometimes offensively. Although they've played a number of games this year that they could have won with their offensive performance, but the defense did not follow suit and play as well as the offensive unit. So you just look at it and you say, are there things that need to be fixed? Yeah, are there things that need fixed on most teams? Yeah, quite frankly, other than a few in the league, and are we going to be able to fix them in the short term, and obviously get to the playoffs where everybody wants to get?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case. So I don't know if the decision has been made or not. But again, they just got to coach. You can't think about that as a coach or a player. You just have to go out there and play every single snap and prepare the same way for Cleveland that you prepared. The entire year and be ready to play that football game because they've got some talent too, and then they're looking to win a game and they're extremely young, and if you're not careful, you'll lose that game, and then I think the wheels would fall off.
One observation, one comment from a fan, me being that fan. Observation: I never knew there were so many pellets, those black pellets underneath that artificial turf. And so much of it came out. Do they have to put stuff back in underneath that to keep the field at a safe
level, really?
Yeah, I mean a lot of that stuff came out of there when they were sweeping off the field.
I mean, it's a hardness test. They do a hardness test on it, and they install the crumb rubber in part because of a safety issue, because they want the field to be a certain hardness, because it protects players obviously when you fall to the ground. And,
sure.
And they probably, I mean, we'd have to talk to Bobby Schatz and the operations people over there to see exactly why that happened or how it happened, but they have a machine as well that kind of takes that stuff up like a Zamboni, takes it up, cleans it, and reapplies it.
Oh, I did not know
to
that.
the field too. So they're always. I mean, there's just tons and tons of that stuff throughout the fibers of the field. I mean, I'm not a field turf guy. I mean, talk to someone at A-Turf or call someone there and get them on the show.
Yeah.
From Buffalo, but that's because I think that's the field they have, but. But certainly it caused a problem, and it was wise of the NFL and the Bills to not start the second half until they were able to get all those that crumb rubber. I mean, once you play on a field like that, when that stuff it's like Dalmatian hair from a dog. I mean, the hair is always in your house, no matter what you try to do to get rid of it.
Yeah.
That crumb rubber, no matter what you try to do, it's in your shoes. It's all over the place. You find it in your house, and so. But again, it's a safety factor in part. Because of that, and it's an important component of making sure the field is a safe playing surface.
Listen, I know that we don't carry the games here, but I'm a proponent of radio.
Shame on you.
This is the time of year where the Bills are now out of it, and the TV stations are going to make decisions to go with a playoff game, a potential game, and they don't go with the Bills. But the radio's always on, and Mark Kelso, you'll hear him, and so go radio. That's
Well,
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
we love everybody to tune in. We love all the affiliates across the state, certainly, and in northern Pennsylvania. So we appreciate you listening, and hopefully we can say something semi-intelligent and articulate.
All right, Mark Kelso, Buffalo Bills, as always, thanks so much.
Yeah, have a great day, guys.
You too. We'll see what happens with Rex Ryan. I do think today might be the day. And if you listen to what he said, he really seriously said, I don't know how he can go forward from here. This is a pretty tough place he's in right now.